Good morning. Peace and blessings to you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So we're here to join the ripple, the wave, the arc of revolution and change that's been in the making since forever. As long as there have been human beings, there are folks who raise their voices in a direction that brings us into our hearts and carries us toward a vision of that which means the world can work for all of us, right? I want you to sing like your song is going to make a difference. I want you to sing like the song we sing right now will change the tide of history.
Woke up this morning with my mind set on justice. Woke up this morning with my mind set on justice.
You know you gotta walk. Hey,
You are the freedom.
you gotta
This morning with my mind set on freedom.
Good morning, friends. How are we feeling? Woo! Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
That's usually not a problem with me. I love a mic and I'm loud. Friends, as folks who are marshaling us help us get into the right position, I just want to hold up why we're here at Vanguard. Headquartered outside of Philadelphia, where we are centered, Vanguard is committed to improving the lives of its investors, which is great. And what we're asking is that they really take that commitment seriously. How do we improve the lives of the investors? By funding a livable future? And how do we improve the lives of people who aren't fortunate enough to be able to invest in Vanguard? Right? So many of the people we'll be talking about today live in Cancer Alley or live in Chester, and they don't have the privilege of getting retirement accounts. So how can Vanguard use its enormous power and privilege to protect both its own investors and all the people of the world? I'm going to send it back to our good friend and supporter, Reverend Rhetta Morgan, to offer us another grounding now that we are in place.
So I want to invite us to ground in silence. Take a couple minutes to tune in to what's happening in your body in this moment. We're also tracking your connection to the earth and your connection to this circle. So let's give a minute or so to allow each of us to ground in a way that feels right for us in this moment. And from the silence, may our circle be unbroken. The circle of our sound, our song, the circle of our collective intention, the circle of our vision for a more just world, for a future, right? May our circle be unbroken. We join a song that's been sung for a very, very long time. So the singing that we do together, may it connect to the ancestral song, to the song of the past, the future, and the song of right now, what we are called into in this moment. May we navigate all the things that are happening within us. Sure, we have some fears. Sure, we have a sense, like what good might this do or not? Like we have a lot of things going on inside. And the power of our collective song is we get to tune into the channel that says, yes, it does matter. Yes, this circle is important. Yes, we are bigger than the sum total of our parts. Together, our voices extend and expand, right? So we get to ground in that, all of that, and steady ourselves as we face this Goliath. Right? We get to steady ourselves. May this circle be unbroken.
Thank you, Reverend Rhetta. One of the amazing things that Rhetta is always able to do is to remind us of our connectedness. Earlier, she spoke about us being part of the ripple and the arc of justice that has always been present in human history. And that when we're together in song, we are connecting to one another and we are expanding outward with that ripple. I want to take a moment to hold our attention to the Vanguard employees. One of the reasons that Earth Quaker Action Team and our partners, like folks at CRCQL, at AFSC, at Rise St. James, are here is because we know that Vanguard has values. Vanguard, I hear, is a great place to work. There are lots of people who appreciate investing with Vanguard because they trust Vanguard's making the right choices. And we want this to be a moment where we can ask Vanguard to really lean into those values and lean into protecting the world. So I want to send some love towards our fellow Vanguard employees, those who are here with us right now, and those who are on campus, and those who are working remotely or in other parts of the world. Because we do these actions out of love for our neighbors, our communities, and our hopes for us all to feel that interconnectedness and to know that that love comes with responsibility. And that we all, many of us drove here, right? Many of us were in cars using fossil fuel energy. Some of us were in electric cars, which is cool, but that's also running off of most of fossil fuel grid. And we're asking Vanguard, help us out. We want to make a change. You have the power to help us out and make that change. Woo! That's right. So we're going to hear from 3 different speakers today. In between those speakers from our partner organizations, we are going to be having some songs led by Rhetta, because it's not an EQAT action without some singing. And there's going to be a moment where we deliver a petition that the Friends of the Earth helped to gather 30,000 signatures for, asking Vanguard to stop its investment in the petrochemicals that come from fossil fuel extraction, that poison our neighbors, that poison our land, that poison our air. So we are going to start with friends from CRCQL, Chester Residents Concerned for Quality Living. CRCQL started in 1992, so CRCQL has been part of this environmental justice game for over 30 years. They have been amazing friends to EQAT. We hope they think that we have been great friends to them. I'd like to introduce Nolan Fontaine, who is speaking on behalf of Ms. Zolene. Nolan.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Fontaine, exactly.
CRCQL in the house. I have to bring just as much energy as if Ms. Zolene was here. Ms. Zolene serves as our chairperson for CRCQL, and on behalf of her, I bring y'all greetings. My name is Nolan L. Fontaine, Dr. Nolan L. Fontaine. I serve as the youth coordinator for Choices. That's our environmental justice group, but I am also a part of CRCQL. My colleague here, Erica Bergman, also serves as administrator. So I was reminded as an American Indian man coming from Chester, Macapanaka, that a couple years ago, we signed this thing called the Treaty of Amity and Friendship, right? Fast forward to 1992 and CRCQL's on the scene. But it just reminded me in that moment about 3 things: confidants, constituents, and comrades. So a confidant, I can text my father this morning and let him know that my right mirror on my car is knocked off so I can get him to buy me another one. He's always going to be my confidant. He's never going to judge me. When I think about constituents, I think about Erica right here. I think about Sue. I think about Neela from C4. I think about Carol over there from Circle as well. Those are all confidants of mine, right? Because we are all fighting for equality, air quality, and quality living in Chester.
Yes.
And when I think about comrades, I think about y'all. I think about EQAT, because at the end of the day, we are all fighting against the same thing. So I just wanted to leave y'all with those thoughts, and I appreciate y'all for all that you do. Thank you so much.
All right. Nolan, thank you so much. Part of why we're here today is to recognize the big report that just came out, funded by Friends of the Earth and other organizations that are talking about this petrochemical pollution. That is affecting frontline communities along the Gulf Coast. We're going to hear about that from a friend from Louisiana, but we know that Chester is a frontline community right here in our neighborhood, and that they are facing higher rates of pollution, higher health risks because of the investment in fossil fuel and petrochemicals that happen right here in the Philadelphia region and harm Chester and Delaware counties more than other counties in order to benefit us in terms of energy usage. And we want Vanguard and other companies to recognize that and to say we are no longer going to target Black and brown communities, target communities with less financial privilege in order to benefit. With that, Reverend Rhetta is going to lead us in a song.
I believe in being ready. I believe in being ready. I believe in being ready. For the time is drawing near. Hold my hand and let's get ready. Hold my hand and let's get ready. Hold my hand and let's get ready. For the time is drawing near. Sing with me and let's get louder. Sing with me and let's get louder. Sing with me and let's get louder. For the time is drawing near. I believe in being ready. I believe in being ready. I believe in being ready. For the time is drawing near.
In a moment, I'm going to ask one of our friends from the American Friends Service Committee to come up and speak to us. AFSC joined EQAT and our desire for Vanguard to create fossil fuel-free target date funds. Let me hear it! Woo! What could be more exciting? We are also asking Vanguard to enact an actually enforceable Indigenous rights policy that requires Vanguard make sure the companies it invests in protects the land and lives of Indigenous people around the world. Just like frontline communities here in America, Indigenous people in the United States and around the world are faced with higher degrees of harm, pollution, and health risks as their land is being exploited for fossil fuel extraction. We know that American Friends Service Committee has been an amazing ally to so many social justice movements throughout the ages. AFSC won a Nobel Peace Prize, right?
Right. Quakers won the prize and we received it on their behalf.
Quakers won the prize. AFSC received it on their behalf. But AFSC was coordinating amazing work in the aftermath and during World War II to protect people regardless of religion, regardless of race, regardless of nationality. And that's what we're asking right now for Vanguard to do. So with that, Brett Heinz, the Global Policy Coordinator for Economic and Climate Justice!
Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name's Brett Heinz, and I'm with the American Friends Service Committee. is an organization founded by Quakers in 1917, rooted in the belief that all human life is equally valuable without any exceptions. Part of that calling is to come to the defense of our shared environment. We all drink the same water, we all breathe the same air, and as a matter of fact, we're all a part of the same environment. We are all part of the diverse ecosystem that keeps this planet healthy and keeps this planet alive. But there are some people who see it fit to profit personally at the expense of activities that harm the rest of us and the environment that all of us share. Vanguard, we now know, is not only the world's #1 investor in fossil fuels, they're also the world's #1 investor in petrochemicals.
That's right.
A new report from Friends of the Earth finds that Vanguard has invested $182 billion in this toxic industry, including the expansion of 34 petrochemical plants all over the country. As our friends at St. James and Chester will be sure to tell you, this hurts the people who live directly around these facilities, the people who have to deal with the immediate impacts of these investments. But it's not just a local problem either. It's a national problem and it's a global problem. Plastics, especially when mass-produced for single use, are one of the most pernicious problems that we're facing today, and often people don't realize just how far this problem goes. A lot of single-use plastics, again, plastics used just one time and then thrown away forever, will last on this earth for 500 years. If we used plastics in the past the same way that we are using them today, this field behind us would be littered by plastic that was produced before the telescope was invented. If we continue to use plastics in the way that we are using them today, we are going to reach a point where we will no longer be able to see the grass beneath our feet. It will just be shreds of empty grocery bags. Plastics last on our earth for half a millennia. But really that's a misleading statement because they last a lot longer than that. Plastics never actually go away. They just break down into tiny little macroplastics. Pollutants which have already been found at the highest point on Earth, Mount Everest, and at the lowest point on Earth, the Mariana Trench. As a matter of fact, recent studies have found that microplastics have already been found in 8 of the 12 organ systems in the human body. Most people standing here today have microplastics inside of them as a result of the investments that Vanguard is making. We don't know what the long-term impacts of this are, but what we do know is that Vanguard has the ability to stop supporting this form of toxic pollution. They have the ability to choose to stop investing in an industry which is already overproducing, which is already over capacity, and which there's no even economic reason for them to be investing in the first place. But in their attempts to chase short-term profits, they've decided that they can sacrifice the long-term health and well-being of the entire planet. And what we're here to say is that you can make a different choice. You can choose to make investments that nonetheless benefit the entire planet. And we know this because Vanguard has done so before. Normally at this part of the conversation, Vanguard says, oh, we just make passive investments. You know, we just run in index funds. We don't have any ability to do that. With all due respect, we don't really buy that. Because when Russia invaded Ukraine, Vanguard made the correct decision to pull out their investments from Russia. When the Trump administration took the White House and changed what their expectations were for shareholder engagement, Vanguard bowed to that pressure and they changed their policies for political purposes. When Vanguard and 2 of their close competitors were all sued by 23 state attorney generals, they were the only ones to settle. They made the choice when all the other companies stood out to say, fine, we'll give you money. All the time, constantly, every day, Vanguard is making active decisions about their investments. So why won't they make a decision that benefits every single person on the planet, including their own investors? That's what we're here to ask for, and I don't think it's too much to ask for. To quote directly from a Vanguard statement, they like to say that they are, quote, guided by our commitment to do what's right for our clients, our employees, and our communities. We're standing here today because we want them to live up to those words. And it's not too much to ask for. They could come out here today and start a conversation about how they can integrate the climate into their investments, about how they can upgrade their involvement in the economy in a way that builds a future that's sustainable for all of us and that allows us to have a planet that we could continue to profit from, rather than just squeezing all the profits they can out today.
That's right.
That's right.
So to those of you at Vanguard, we would like to say, come join us. We'd like to have a conversation. We'd like to have a conversation about how your own business plan is perfectly coherent with a livable future that benefits all of us. And in the meanwhile, we'll be here and we'll continue to ask them to live by their values until the day that they do so. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Brett. I don't know that I could have said it better myself, so I'm really glad you were here to say it. Brett held up some super important points. Vanguard can make a choice. And Vanguard really loves choice. On their website, they say, we believe investors should have choices. Really? They want investors to have choices. And for investors to have choices, Vanguard has to believe that they have choices too. They have to believe that they can create options that invest in our livable future in a just, sustainable economy for people all over the world. That's right. And just to point out, this report that shows that not only, as we already knew, Vanguard was the leading private investor in fossil fuels, that Vanguard is the leading private investor in these petrochemicals for companies that are expanding petrochemical production here in the US, like sodium chlorate, like PVC, like sulfuric acid, like polyethylene, like jet fuel, polybutene polymer, yum, yum, yum. So, I just want to hold up some of the risks of the expansion and continued production of these petrochemicals, especially for folks in Cancer Alley. Nervous system impairment, reproductive and developmental harm, cancer, leukemia, respiratory disease, low birth weight, preterm birth, pregnancy loss. These are all things that Vanguard would say they do not want for their investors. So let's have Vanguard back that. Some of their investors live in those regions, and even if not, they should be supporting health and prosperity for people all over the world. A report said that 25% of preterm births in Cancer Alley could be contributed, or it could be connected to the pollutions from petrochemical companies. 25%. Vanguard has the option to make that change, to support healthier lives. Reverend Rhetta, can you take us to our next song?
Gonna keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back. Keep on moving forward. Never turning back. Never turning back.
In the name of moving forward, we are going to right now deliver a petition of 30,188 signatures that Friends of the Earth helped collect, asking Vanguard to stop funding toxic petrochemical expansion in the United States so that it can protect the health and safety of our neighbors close and far. While they do that, we are going to gather in silent worship in the manner of friends. But while we're in silence, while this petition is being delivered, I ask that we once again hold our friends at Vanguard in the light. CEO Salim Ranji, CIO Greg Davis, and all of the employees who probably feel like they don't have the power to make a change, but they do. Let's hold them in the light in the hopes that they feel inspired to make a change for the betterment of our world.
They're talking about choices.
And you have these signatures you'd like to deliver.
Best way to do that would be to look online for our mailing
Cool,
address.
so we do have that filled in, and I just send it
Now
off.
you're going to have to put it in the mail. Unfortunately, we don't have anybody that can accept that for you. But yeah, if you put it in the mail, it'll go to the correct.
And other industries have gone along that way with it.
They stand that they're not going to take the written evidence of these 30,000 plus people asking for no more investment in petrochemical expansion. This echoes the Vanguard executives spending years saying that they wouldn't meet with us. Just like Brett said, meet with us to talk about their investment policy, talk about how that policy does or does not support the well-being of the world, both people and other organisms. But we're gonna keep pushing, we're gonna keep asking. Vanguard, we'd love to meet with you. We love to talk to you. We love to hear what you have to say. I still believe that one day we'll be sitting down at a table with Salim and Greg to hear more from them. Yeah. Woo, that's right. Yeah. In the meantime, we have an incredibly important visitor coming to us all the way from Louisiana. Woo. Jack Green works for Rise St. James. Rise St. James is a campaign organization that focuses on fighting for the health and sustainability of Louisiana communities. Communities much like those in Chester that don't have the opportunity to move if they don't like what's happening. So Jack, where you at? Thank you.
So I'm just so humbled in this group. Y'all are such wonderful people. I think that y'all are such an inspiration for so many people out there right now who feel like there is no hope and there is no reason to fight. And this is just like a great example of why that's not the case. And I'm lost for words, but I just want to say thank you all. My name is Jack Green. I was born and raised in Lake Charles, Louisiana, which it's a petrochemical fueled town. In 2015, we were named the third fastest growing economy in the country by USA Today. And in the same year, it was announced that we had the 7th most dangerous bridge in the country that plant workers take every day to commute to their jobs. And it can never be replaced or fixed because the sediment at the bottom of the lake is poisoned from years and years and years of toxic pollution. From a young age, it was very obvious to me that we were not reaping the economic benefits that we were promised. In South Louisiana, it's a promise of jobs, it's a promise of prosperity that decades and decades and decades has never come.
Shame.
Exactly. Yeah. Rise St. James was founded in 2018. This is the organization that I am really, really grateful to be a part of, led by our founder, Sharon Levine. But before there was Rise St. James, there was a community in the river parishes, which we colloquially refer to as Cancer Alley, known for its high cancer rates and high risk of immunocompromised diseases and health impacts from the industries. In 2018, it was announced that Formosa Plastics would build the largest plastics plant on the continent in Welcome, Louisiana. Ms. Sharon, our founder, but at the time school teacher, lived in this area where there were already 12 petrochemical facilities in a 10-mile radius. And the governor announced that there would be one more, the largest in the continent, the largest plastics plant in the continent, Formosa, who has a long history of environmental destruction in their existing facilities in Texas and his really terrible labor violations in East Asia. And when Ms. Sharon and her community members went to their local officials to ask, what can we do? We don't want this here. It will do, they heard what kind of emissions would happen, what would happen to their community, would destroy their home, and they asked, what can we do? And they told her, you can't do anything. There's nothing you can do about it. The governor already approved it. This plant will be built and operational before 2020. We are in 2026 and there is no Formosa. There is not going to be any Formosa. Miss Sharon took up her place. She asked, she's a very, very, Rise is a faith-based organization, and Miss Sharon is, if anyone has ever met her, she's a very religious woman, she's Catholic. And when she was told that there's nothing that she could do, she went in her back of her house and her property that's been passed down for generations and prayed. And she asked, what do I do? Do I leave? Am I supposed to leave my home? Do I take my family and go somewhere else that they've never known? And she heard one word, and that word was fight. And she, from there, started Rise St. James in a garage with her fellow community members, stopped Formosa, and since then Rise has grown to become a sprawling organization with staff and supporters and friends all across the country that works to resist the build out of the petrochemical industry and fight back against the proliferation of the petrochemical industry in the river parishes and elsewhere. Today we are here outside of Vanguard headquarters, an investment management company who has backed $182 billion for the petrochemical build-out as of 2025. Many of the projects proposed for my home state, the ones that Rise fights, are financed by Vanguard. Many of which even under the guise of environmental social governance. A list of these industries, non-exclusive, there's many of them. Ascension Clean Energy Complex, Air Products Blue Energy, BASF Geismar, CF Blue Point Complex, CF Blue Ammonia Complex. Page turn. I like to be analog. Okay. Formosa Sunshine Project, and in my home, Lake Charles Blue Ammonia. Several of these facilities are within a small radius, several miles of each other that are proposed, in populated areas, populated mostly by economically disadvantaged people, Black and brown people, and people who do not, in their mind, have the political wherewithal to fight back. Well, they have another thing coming. These plants are not going to come, and Vanguard's investments are going to come back to bite them unless they change their practices. To give you an idea of what these Vanguard ESG priorities are, I'm going to tell you a little bit about one of the facilities, one of these clean energy green facilities that they are building in Cancer Alley, Air Products Blue Ammonia Plant. For anyone who is not aware, a blue ammonia plant is an ammonia plant that is built and creates ammonia using low carbon, quote unquote, carbon dioxide. The plant is going to be built near several residential subdivisions within 5 miles, within 2 miles of a primary school, elementary school, and the plant will have 7 tall flares emitting carbon monoxide, VOCs, NOx, SOx, PM 2.5, and other carcinogenous chemicals such as benzene. To make it clean, Air Products has promised its investors that it will sequester carbon dioxide emitted from the facility, concentrate it in a 24-inch diameter pipeline that it will run by the elementary school through 3 different parishes full of Black and brown communities, and sequester the carbon dioxide underneath Lake Maurepas, which is the last pristine wetlands left in Louisiana. This scheme is called carbon capture and sequestration, and it is a new proposed industrial investment and innovation that is meant to fight climate change. The idea is to take the carbon dioxide and inject it, instead of releasing it in the air, inject it directly into the ground, which, I mean, it's just, I could go on about how ridiculous that is, but Louisiana is a deltaic land, where the land shifts, the soil shifts, the carbon dioxide is going to go into the air. And you know who's paying for these, who pays for the green tax credits?
We do.
Us. Yeah. Air Products will, this facility, if built and if operating, will be receiving billions and billions of dollars of 45Q tax credits from me and you and our neighbors in order to make this facility green, although they're not going to reduce any of their toxic chemicals, and the only chemical that's allegedly will be reduced is carbon dioxide. In addition to all of these, for Vanguard's clean investment, these issues, Air Products will be built, like many of these petrochemical facilities in the river parishes, on the grounds of the Orange Grove plantation. What they don't want you to know, and what is rarely talked about, is these facilities are able to be built in this area because the land that they are building on is plantation land that is passed down from large landowner to large landowner. And the people who live around these facilities and are going to breathe in the toxic chemicals are the descendants of the people who were enslaved on those plantations. So Orange Grove, which will soon be Air Products, has several unmarked burial grounds of those who were enslaved on the grounds. Those people were not given just burials or Christian burials because they were not considered equal citizens at the time. And so one of the things that RISE does and that we try to fight for is to maintain the integrity of these burial grounds. We have several friends in different parishes who have to go onto plant properties to see the graves of their loved ones, flanked by security guards. They have to leave if there's a flare. And Formosa is the same way, and several of these chemical facilities that Vanguard is funding is the same way. They're built on plantation grounds. The economic model of the plantation economy has not changed. It has not died, it has just changed and shifted. We have gone from plantations to petrochemicals now, and it's the descendants of those same people who are suffering the consequences, and it will be the descendants of those same people who will stop this. If our culture, ways in life, homes, and communities are to survive, Vanguard and investment groups like Vanguard must put an end to the greenwashing, and it must put an end to toxic finance.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you. We are seeing now that the petrochemical reliance does not just poison our bodies, it poisons our souls. These companies drive community apart, pitting neighbor against neighbor, brother against sister. They go and then they fund oppositional groups to environmental frontline groups that are just trying to protect their lives or protect their children, and tell neighbors that it's our fault that the economy in Louisiana is not serving them. As if years and years and years of petrochemical investment was not meant to trickle down to us. That $182 billion should be serving us. If we're going to be poisoned, if we're going to have all these health problems, we should at least have working hospitals. St. John the Baptist Parish, which has the facility Dinka DuPont, which is the largest emitter of chloroprene in the country, which is a mutagen or carcinogen, should by all intents and purposes, considering the tax money that goes into it, be the wealthiest parish or county in the country, and it is one of the poorest. The petrochemical culture also drives instability, political corruption, and as we are all very aware at this moment, war. Holding on to this antiquated regime is a mistake for Vanguard, and we can all see it. Backsliding into the ways of the past and walking back on their ESG and true green promises is going to bite them in the future. And it is our job to be here still when this regime ultimately crumbles. I speak for myself, and I think that I speak for many of you where I say that it feels really, really, really hard right now to have hope and to feel like that we're not just yelling at the wall.
You're not alone.
I know we feel this way. We have all these petitions signed by real people,
Yes.
and they won't even take them. They won't even look at it. And it can be very, 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 very frustrating. And I feel it, and I know y'all feel it too, and my heart goes out to y'all, but I have to say, things will change. The people who came before us and fought the things before us, the people from where I'm from and who lead me, whose ancestors fought the civil rights movement and stopped the plantation system, and all of these things that our ancestors have fought, it felt like the end to them as well. It felt like that they were powerless, and if they had quit at that time, they would be powerless, because our power is in our voice, and our power is in our collective action, and it's our connection with one another. I'm meeting all of you today, but I know that together we will overcome this. And there's communities all across the country that we've never met that are fighting the same fight and who have the same beliefs as us. And we just have to stay strong, y'all. This will end. This authoritarian regime will end. And look, I don't want to, all of these people, I do believe are good. And I believe they have good intentions in their hearts and they are misled. I believe these corporations are cowardly. I believe these corporations are evil. And I believe that it takes a lot of bravery to do what we're doing now. And we don't get enough credit for it, and that's fine, we don't need the credit. But whenever this regime ends and whenever this culture shift goes away and we're still standing here, the people who were too afraid to stand up are gonna follow in our lead, and they're looking to us now, and we need to stand up as those examples. Thank you so much. And one last thing, I feel really great to see young people here. It makes me really happy. It's really, really a hard thing out in Louisiana to get young people out to these kind of things. But for all of you that are here, y'all need to find 5 friends to come to the next one. And then they need to have 5 friends to come to the next one, because y'all are the future, and they are not going to listen to us if we are not a multi-generational movement. Young people, it's really easy for them right now, and it's really hard for them all at the same time to get lost in the culture and the internet and what they're seeing on their phone. But their voices matter. They have things to say, and they are like wise and valuable to the movement. And so I just wanted to encourage the ones that are here today, do not get discouraged. Keep fighting, and your fellow young people will follow and make this movement what it needs to become. Thank you all so much.
That was incredible.
Never turn it back, Jack.
You want to keep talking? I want to hold up 2 stats that really connect to what Jack was saying that are in the Friends of the Earth report on toxic finance, which you can find at toxicfinance.org. Go check it out. It's powerful. One of the things that Jack was pointing to is that petrochemical manufacturing happens in communities that are primarily with Black residents and poor white residents. And they've been promised economic prosperity from that investment. They've been promised that building these companies will improve their lives. But the report found that Black Louisianans are disproportionately underrepresented in the workforce of those petrochemical manufacturing companies. Of course, right? So they are facing all of the harms without getting even some of the economic benefit. But we know that the folks who are working in those companies are not really receiving the benefit. Who's receiving the benefit? Vanguard investors. Vanguard investors don't want to build their retirement on the harm, the sickness, the disenfranchisement of other people. Vanguard investors want to build their retirement, want to save for their children's college, want to save for their own better lives by building on the hope, the prosperity, the lifting up of people around the world. Vanguard says they want investors to have choices. So Vanguard, let's help give them choices. I want to be back here in a couple years with a sign that said Vanguard, #1 green investor. Right? And we don't want that to be fake green investment like Jack was talking about. We want it to be real green energy supporting a livable future. Vanguard says that they are inspired to make a positive impact on their investing and on their community. Vanguard needs to widen their sense of who their community is. That's right. It's not just their employees. It's not just the people with their privilege to invest with them. Their community are people across the world who are affected by the choices they make. That's right. Vanguard as investors, those of us who have the ability as individual investors have to accept the responsibility that comes with these investments. That's right. Jack said our power is in our voice. Thank you to Jack and Rise in St. James for being here and for fighting for the health and benefit of Louisianans. Thank you to the American Friends Service Committee for being here and for fighting for justice around the world. Thank you so much to our wonderful partners at CRCQL for fighting for Chester residents, for Chester County residents, for Delaware County residents. Thank you to Friends of the Earth and all the other organizations that help put this toxicfinance.org report together to help show what Vanguard investments are really going to. Thank you to all of you for being here, to show your support, to show Vanguard that we are hoping they will make the right choices. They will make choices that support a future we want to see, a future we want to have young people growing up in, a future we want to have older people growing up into. Yes. Reverend Rhetta, will you close us out with a song?
A little call and response. You can't stop us.
You can't stop us.
Might as well join us.
Might as well join us.
This is the day that
This is the day that
our love has made.
our love has made.
You can't stop us.
You can't stop us.
Might as well join us.
Might as well join us.
This is the day that
This is the day that
our prayers have made.
our prayers have made.
You won't stop us.
You won't stop us.
Might as well join us.
Might as well join us.
This is the day that
This is the day
our
that
ancestors have made.
our ancestors have made.
You won't stop us.
You won't stop us.
Might as well join us.
Might as well join us.
This is the day that
This is the day
our songs have made.
our song.
Hey, you won't stop us.
You won't stop us.
Might as well join us.
Might as well join us.
This is the day that
This is the day
our
that
strength has made.
our strength has.
Hey, you won't stop us. No, you might as well join us.
Might as
Hey,
well join us.
this is the day that
This is the day that
our hearts have made.
our hearts have made.
You can't stop us.
You can't stop us.
You might as well join us.
Might as well join us.
This is the day that
This is the day that
our love has made.
our love has made.
Our love has made.
Our love has made.
Yes, our love has made.
Our love has made.
Our power is in our voice. And Barbara's been inspired to share one final bit with us before we let the marshals help walk us back to where we started. Barbara.
Thank you. This came to me during the silent worship, a message to Vanguard. You think you're in the vanguard, we think you're left behind. Investments in pollution are neither fair nor kind. While the people suffer, you turn an eye so blind. So we'll keep up this vigil until you change your mind.
All right. Thank you, Barbara.
Ain't gonna let no vanguard turn us around.
Turn me around.
Turn me around. Ain't gonna let no vanguard turn me around. Turn me around. Turn me around. Ain't gonna let no vanguard turn me around. I'm gonna keep on walking. Keep on talking.